I'm Dix Astro Coach. Welcome to tonight's in-depth look at the full corn moon in Pisces. So, let's see what this particular full moon is about. How are you feeling? How is your energy? How have your energy levels been? How are your dreams? How are you kind of feeling in yourself, in your deep inner self? Because Pisces is a water sign, and Pisces is very mysterious as well. It's ruled by Neptune, and the moon in this particular lunation is actually conjunct Neptune. So what does this mean? Well, Neptune currently is retrograde. Neptune, in a sense, we try to seek the truth, and Neptune can put veils over our eyes. So there's something about the energy of this full moon which is actually asking us to really be transparent, to try and see through the veils that Neptune can kind of, hang in front of our eyes. So it's a collective determination for transparency and truth. So the energies have probably felt quite intense leading up to this full moon. And it's very interesting because this full moon is at what we call the Anoretic point of Pisces. What does that mean? Well, it's at 28 degrees. It's just between 28 and 29 degrees. Now, 29 degrees is the last degree of any sign. So when a planet is at that point, and in this case, we have a full moon at that point, it makes it even more powerful. So it kind of emphasizes the energy that we've got with the Neptune retrograde. The other thing that's really interesting is that Pisces, of course, is the last sign of the zodiac. So that even adds an extra layer of kind of super powerfulness, because we're about to go into the start of the zodiac wheel again from a lunar perspective, as the next full moon will be in Aries. So let's just look at why this is so important. Pisces, of course, is our two fishes. I love doing that. And there are no boundaries in Pisces. And Neptune, it rules Pisces, and it's all over the place. So we might have found that our emotions and our energies have been spilling out all over the place. And as I said, we might have had vivid nighttime dreams. I've certainly experienced some interesting dreams, and again, quite vivid. Nothing particular, but nothing disturbing, but just very vivid dream world at the moment. So we have to find some grounding in this kind of ungrounded energy. So we look to the sun. And of course, the sun is in Virgo, which is an earth sign. And of course, the sun is also at the anorectic degree of Virgo, because it's going to slip into Libra in a couple of days' time with the autumn equinox. Virgo is analytical, and if you have been caught up in kind of paranoid fantasy, I think it's good to get back into the mind and to look for kind of concrete cerebral evidence to earth you to this reality and dimension. Now, also Neptune can trigger our psychic abilities. So you do need to stay grounded at the same time with your intuition about what is the best way forward for you. If we go to where the sun is in Virgo, it's also out of sign conjunct with the planet Mars, which is just in Libra. So the Sun is in Virgo and Mars is in Libra. Now Mars is about energy and action. It's about, it can be aggression, it can be assertive behavior, it can be arguments. So there's quite a tension between this full moon with Neptune and the Sun and Mars. So you might find yourself getting irritable, irritated, impatient with just the events, even just ordinary everyday events will perhaps be more challenging at the moment. I think also there's a real need for balance with Mars in Libra, because I think there's a lot of aggressive energy around, and people, and I know I see this on social media, are really fighting to get their beliefs across, and everybody is in this kind of constant quest to seek the truth and insisting their truth is the truth. And it's their truth. It's our truth, your truth. And what the truth is, maybe will become clear as the year progresses. The other interesting thing with this full moon is that we've got retrograde Uranus in Taurus. Now, Uranus is about the unexpected. It's also the great awakener, but it can also cause disruption. Taurus is about money and possessions. It's in opposition to Venus in Scorpio. Now, Scorpio, of course, is Plutonic. It can be quite a deep and dark sign. It's not to say all Scorpios are very dark, but it has a darker and deeper energy than some of the other signs. Now, Venus in Scorpio is not at her best. And as she also, apart from relationships, represents possessions and finance, the fact that she's opposite Uranus, I think we're going to see a little bit more tension again in the world economy. Now, it's interesting because I noticed even today that there was a sort of a general nervousness that had come back into the financial markets and into the sort of the stock markets. And there was quite a tumble this morning with markets. And this, I think, is around this full moon energy and people getting a little bit jittery. And I think also there's still this general, the full moon is highlighting this general mistrust and confusion about the traditional financial corporations. Can we trust them? And, you know, that's a difficult thing, but it's something that we have to work out individually. Now, it's interesting because if we go forward a couple of days, we've got the autumn equinox. So on the 22nd, the sun will slip into Libra, and that's at 21:21 Central European time. So this will be heralding the end of summer and the beginning of the journey through autumn into winter. Let's take this as a point in time to see how the next 3 months might unfold. Interestingly, I think we could see internet slowdowns. I think we might see more crackdowns on cybersecurity. There could even be serious cyber security threats. And the other thing that occurred to me with the energy that is around for the next 3 months is that it's more likely that terrorists would hit us where it really hurts with our communication forums. And it's interesting because this form of war can have a huge effect on far more people than sporadic bomb attacks. And because of these possibilities, I think, as I said about the financial markets, they will move back to what is commonly termed as bearish trading, which means they'll be far more cautious as people hold on to their assets, reluctant to trade in an unsafe cyber environment. But things look quite different as we get into October, because we have 3 major planets moving direct in October, and also Mercury, because at the end of this month we've got a Mercury retrograde, and that's on the 28th, 29th. Mercury will be going retrograde, and as I've often said with Mercury retrograde, don't fear it. As long as you've put everything in place and you have checked out everything that needs checking out, then it shouldn't be a problem. Yes, sometimes messages can go astray. Yes, with this full moon energy, we might see miscommunication and confusion because of Neptune. But also Mercury retrograde gives us an opportunity to go back and revisit certain things, to revisit dreams and ideas that perhaps we'd kind of put on hold. So it may actually be that this Mercury retrograde will actually help us put our personal brakes on, preventing us from knee-jerk decisions, and perhaps knee-jerk decisions from those in power. And I really do think we're going to be moving towards a very different landscape as we move towards the end of the year. So the full moon in general is a search and a quest for truth, as I said, with this Neptune energy, and Neptune just holds up smoke screens and mirrors. So on an individual level, it's really important to try and seek your own truth and to do your own research in whatever it is that you need to find the truth out about. I think that's really super important. Now let's look at your individual signs. So even though there's an awful lot of astrological energy in the whole chart for this full moon, I'm just going to pick up for each sign, pinpoint it to where the full moon is and how I feel that is going to affect each sign. So let's come on to you, Aries. This full moon shines its light on not only your ascendant, but your descendant. Now let me explain that. So because it's at the, as I said, anorectic point, which means if you think of a zodiac wheel, you've got Aries is the first sign. Now Pisces is the 12th sign. So it's kind of behind where Aries is. And the moon is actually sitting right on that cusp to move into Aries. So it's on the ascendant for you. This is super interesting because this is how people experience you in the world. And because it brings in the Sun and Mars, which are on, of course, the descendant, which is the part of the chart which represents a significant relationship in your life, then this full moon is something about relationships. Now remember, full moons bring endings and change. It doesn't necessarily mean a relationship ends, but it might be that a certain way that a relationship has been going needs to change, needs to end. But because we have this Mars energy there, tough decisions might be required with assertive, even aggressive action, which bring this change and the endings. But it really would set you free, Aries, if you allowed these changes to take hold. And I think it is dynamic change and closing the door on a difficult phase of a relationship. Taurus. This full moon is helping you gain insight into the action you need to take better care of yourself physically and incorporate it into your daily work-life routine with balance. And to achieve your goals, Taurus, you cannot ignore your physical well-being. And Taurus, and I know only too well, I'm afraid, yes, my sun is in Taurus, and I get obsessed with certain things and just kind of keep working at what I'm doing, and I kind of neglect what my physical body is asking me or begging me, saying, please get up and walk. And that's what I have to do sometimes. So I just give you that as a kind of an example. But this full moon is very much about closing the door on a way of being and realizing that it's time to actually start a new way of looking after yourself, Taurus. Right, Gemini. Okay, Gemini, quite interesting for you. Unclear signals connected with your career suggest it's time for clarity with regard to your important goals. Balanced assertive action and careful thought is the game changer for you, Gemini. So, you know, that's also going to be something to do with what's going on at home, where you live or family members. You need clarity for you to be able to make some decisions about moving forward with your career. Cancer. So Cancer, it seems you're torn between your responsibilities at home and action that needs to be taken there, and your desire for travel of the mind, daydreaming about distant places, and a real desire to get away from your current environment. And you know, this full moon energy suggests if you can take a complete break, it would really do you the world of good. It's time for a few days off, Cancer. Leo. So Leo, this is very much about your inner world. This is about your consciousness, your kind of inner energy, your soul, sun energy. There are huge shifts in consciousness possible for you at the moment with this full moon. Huge possibilities for personal transformation and really understanding things in a very different way. I think you're going to get extraordinary insight into the way things could unfold for you. And I feel it's important that you use your current mental energies to write down these ideas and see how these thoughts can transform your life. Virgo. Well, of course, Virgo, this full moon is in your opposite sign. So it's a bit like with Aries and with Pisces. It's kind of a really significant full moon for you. So let's see what I think this is about. Well, of course, retrograde Neptune in Pisces is in the area of your chart that is connected with your close personal relationships. So this is lovely, because I think you might be having or might have been having or have some quite romantic dreams around the energy of this full moon. And if you're planning a weekend away with your beloved, if you have one, then stop worrying about the cost. You deserve some romance and some fun, Virgo. Virgo, you work so hard. And I really think that this full moon energy could indicate a whole new level for a significant relationship. Now, consequently or subsequently, if you're single, then try and get out and about over the next few days, Virgo. Go to places where you're likely to meet people if you would like to have a relationship, because it's quite possible with the kind of romantic energies of this full moon that you just might meet somebody. Libra. Libra, you might feel a bit lost around this full moon and caught up in some paranoid feelings. It's just Neptune momentarily knocking you off course. It will pass. Breathe, find your balance, and then you'll find that your energy levels will soon be replenished. It will take a bit of time, but you'll get back in balance, Libra. Scorpio. So this particular full moon is bringing out a much more practical side to your nature. It's as if you're wrestling with how to be clear with a romantic relationship. There's something to do with a romantic relationship that is just not quite right, and you want to redress the balance. And I think you've been drowning in quite intense feelings about this. And sometimes we have to ask ourselves, is it worth the heartache that some people cause us? Because this full moon is really giving you the chance to change direction and forge new beginnings by closing some doors that need to be closed. Sagittarius. Ooh, heavy energy around family members. Might be quite hard to fathom at present. It's just this Neptune energy. It will pass in a few days. It will pass. You may have to take drastic action to make sure your career doesn't become a casualty of this energy. So don't let family responsibilities get in the way of what you need to do, because I think if you can understand that this energy is just, it's just transient. It's a bit like Neptune, it's transient. Then it will settle down. Capricorn. Capricorn, this full moon energy may have you floundering a bit as you feel quite overwhelmed by its energies. The areas highlighted for you are in the way you communicate and the way you think. Don't overthink work situations or personal situations. And if someone or something is leaving your life, it's okay. It's to make way for the people or the circumstances that are meant to be in your life. So let go gracefully. It's okay. Aquarius. Aquarius, what is happening to your budgeting? You know, it's okay to ask for help if you're getting in a bit of a mess. And if there is a situation which is a bit of a money drain, then you've got to ask yourself, is it really necessary? It's time to be ruthless about standing orders and cut back to essentials. So go through your budget. You know, it's amazing how we sign up for all these things and we've got, you know, €5 going out here, €10 going out there, and we don't even really know where all this money is going to. So Aquarius, time to just check the piggy bank. Look at the list of what you're paying out and do a bit of a cull on unnecessary expenditure. Pisces, well, this is your full moon, Pisces. How are you doing with it? You know, when Neptune is there conjunct the moon, it can leave you probably feeling quite lost at times and as if you're drowning in your emotions. And for you, this full moon is a time to decide who and what serves you. So don't drown in those emotions, but seek clarity about certain relationships. Be thankful for what you learnt from the time spent with them and let them go so that the new can come in. This is a powerful full moon. That the build up to it may not have been as obvious as with other full moons, but I think the energy of this is going to carry on for the next week or so. And certainly once we get past the equinox and the sun moves into Libra, the energy will shift and feel a bit more balanced. We'll get a bit more clarity as Libra brings in that kind of sort of balance and equality. So take care. Thank you so much for coming to join me for this in-depth look at tonight's full moon. And I'd like to say thank you very much to Gozo in the House and the team at Gozo in the House for supporting me, doing amazing stuff for me, promoting me, and for hosting this full moon event. And just to add, if you would like to have a one-to-one with me for astro coaching or for life coaching, please check out my website. You can find that in the description box. And also, if you've come in halfway, you've missed this, you can either catch up on Gozo in the House page, or you can go to my YouTube channel tomorrow and it will be on there too. And if you are on my YouTube channel and you've not subscribed yet, I'd super love it if you could do that. So in the meantime, thank you so much for joining me tonight, and I wish you a lovely, peaceful night of sweet dreams. Bye for now.